Good evening, and I'm just going to piggyback off of Coach. This probably was the best, and I think I said it to Matt Jones earlier. I think this is the best linebacker class we signed since we've been here. I know we signed 6 linebackers, or 7. Is it 7? 6 or 7, and they're all interchangeable, but this is a very athletic group and was very highly recruited, so I was very excited about that. Defense we needed to address in this class because we losing a lot of guys on defense, and we should be pretty good on offense next year, so defense was a big emphasis this year. Open up for questions.
How much break are you going to take from your current linebackers and say this is the best?
Because it is, and to be quite honest, losing Josh and Jordan, and we may have a transfer here. I think it's here and there, but overall, I think this is, like Coach Stoop said, we used to have to project guys. We take guys that was 6'2", 210 pounds, and then hope they grow into 6'3", 230. These guys are already the type of guys that like Bama or Ohio State would take, or Oregon and schools like that. So this is a great group.
What else makes it so great?
Very versatile. They can do it all. You can take all 6 of these guys. They can be Sam's, Jacks. Some can play Will. Some can play Mike. Some can play Sam. These are the type of guys that you had to say it like Nick Saban would take. You just take these guys and they become good special teams players and just interchangeable. Some guys may grow into a DN. You just never know. But there's good size and length coming in.
I think it's probably fair to say that recruiting Louisville is different than recruiting the rest of the state. And publicly, at least at one time, it looked like maybe all those guys were going somewhere else. What changed in the city in this class, and how did you do that, what you did there?
I just think our perception, I think we were pretty good in most of the state, pretty much 85% of the state, but Louisville was a different monster, and it was just a thing where I think Louisville had a strong hold on, a lot of the kids there, a lot of the inner city kids, and, just came in with a message to say, hey, this state is pretty much 90%, blue, big blue nation, and for some reason, it was like them kids there, it was 90%, but in that 10-15%, it all was Louisville, and so we just sent, just a different message, and the success we was having on defense. 3 of the top linebackers we took out of there were top guys in the country, and I think they seen the success of our linebacker crew. A lot of people don't know, we've been pretty good in the NFL in the last couple of years with linebacker play, so, it was just getting these guys here to come play in the best conference in the country and come play in the best with the best school in the state, so it wasn't a hard sell.
Vince, do you expect to continue to be in-state recruitment going forward?
I'm always going to go where my boss wants me to go. It was just a thing where we, don't take no credit away from John Slarman. He really did a good job there. I just came in and just closed it out. But, the way I recruit now was, in Ohio, like a lot of people were asking me in Ohio, like, what's going on? Did we lose our, our power in Ohio? And it was like, no, it was just we shifted emphasis into Louisville and the state of Kentucky. But the guys we got in Ohio were top guys. So I'm always going to fluctuate in between Ohio, Kentucky, and then some national guys. So it's just where I needed to go this year.
How much has your approach changed to recruits since you got here? How have you kind of tailored your message, and how much easier has it gotten?
Dude, the first 2 years here was you was trying to sell something. You had to sell a lot of stuff, and a lot of traditional schools that we were starting to try to recruit against was send pictures of, us playing Vandy, and there's 10,000 people in the stands, and it was just a lot of negative stuff that we were dealing with. And it was like, they're not going to win there. Then it was like they don't have the facilities. The fans not going to come out. So we kept jumping them hurdles. Then we started beating these guys, and when we started beating like the lower tier of the SEC, because we were the bottom, and then we started coming up, the message was easier because they seen success and their coaches started seeing success. This might have been from beating Louisville that previous year when we upset them to being 9-3 now. It's pretty. I think we more expand in other states because our logo is more known, and not just for basketball, but it's known. They know our football program. But in our traditional states that we recruit in, Ohio and Kentucky, it just kicked it through the roof. So the message now is like, now let's go beat Georgia. You know, we had climbed up the hill and beating some of these other teams, but we got to get Georgia. We got to win SEC East soon. So that's our message now.
Is it fair to say that it's easier to recruit guys from certain areas when players from that area have had success here? Like
Yes.
Mike and Darius?
Yes. You know, and I mean, I know we from Ohio, but in Ohio, I mean, I have reporters, you know, they say, man, y'all got a lot of good players that's y'all good players from Ohio. So it's easy to go in there and do that. But we also got some good players from the state of Kentucky. And, you know, we really got a great number of the talented players this year. But I still don't feel satisfied because we should have got them all. When we get them all or get 90% of them, then I'll be happy. I know Coach Stoops will be happy. But, you know, when you have success with guys that's already doing well, it is easy to go in there and get them kids. I mean, that's how we got Chris Oakes because of Mike Edwards. I mean, dude, Chris Oakes was a lock to go to Ohio State. But the message we sold him was, look at Mike Edwards. Mike Edwards had like 30-some offers, and he came here, and he was an impact player as a redshirt freshman. So it is easy to do that. That's a good question.
Do you think the success this year will start to pay off even more next year for guys who've seen it throughout this year and are making their decisions starting this summer, et cetera?
Yeah, because I'm going to tell you, some of the dudes we lost in the 18 class, this is 19 class, right? The 18 class, even the 17 class, you'll see them talking to some other players like, man, I knew we should have went there, man. I seen it, but it was like they didn't believe it. And then when we went down to beat Florida, it really changed the whole game because it seemed like with Kentucky, there always was a stigma that you had to get over the hurdle. So when we start beating all these schools and beating other schools, and then the media be like, well, they ain't beat Florida in 31 years. So when we beat Florida, and I think when we beat Mississippi State, because the way people were projecting them before we beat them, that they was probably the second best team in the SEC, it really went volumes for our recruiting. So, I mean, it's you just got to keep climbing them hurdles, though.
Can beating Big Ten power like Penn State in a New Year's Day bowl game, is that another hurdle?
Well, I think y'all, I was, because I was up late, Coach Stoops was not lying when he called me and said, hey, you need to start talking to K1 now, I'm going to bed. So I was up late and I was watching the news, and CJ was on there, CJ Conrad, and he made a comment. Somebody asked him about playing in the Big Ten, and he was like, for these Ohio kids, it is. And most of our kids in Ohio, you know, we play Northwestern, but now when you play like Penn State, Michigan State, Ohio State in a bowl game, trust me, them guys will be really up for that. And it's just, you know, I know I'm even up for it, you know, because you grew up in that area, you know, and that's what we grew up in. These kids came here because our message was come and play in the best conference in the country. But they're all Big Ten. We got a Big Ten mentality on our team. So it's going to be interesting.
How excited are you for CJ to be able to play in a bowl after last season and having to sit out?
Yeah. And I ain't one of them dudes who knock on wood, I pray. But I'm so excited for him because I still think this kid is not with our staff, and I think even with our local media and our fans, he's very unappreciative. But I tell you, when he's going to play well in this bowl game, then he's going to East-West Shrine game. That's where the scouts are going to see that he's really who he really is. And I'm just excited for him because he meant so much to me. You know, he was one of them guys that 15 class where I think getting a kid like him, because he was so highly ranked, it really sent a message to the rest of the country that we really were recruiting some top-notch guys. And I'm going to miss him personally because he actually been like a son to me. And him being out of that room is going to be strange, you know, next year. But I'm very excited that he's going to get to play in this bowl game and finish his career off. I think he had one of the best careers that you can have as a tight end, but also as a student athlete, as him being who he is.
Both you and Marrow kind of said that it's easier to get guys that are more maybe projectable now with your success. But is there something kind of rewarding about, you know, finding the Josh Allens of the world and that hunger and desire that they...
Dude, I'm going to tell you this, though. If that's like, I don't know, that's kind of like, you know, striking gold. I mean, you telling me in 2015 that Josh Allen will win all these awards? He probably should be the first pick of the draft when you really look at a guy like him. I mean, the last guy I seen dominate like him was Dominic Sue when I was at Nebraska, where he just would take over games from a defensive standpoint. When you got 20, so we signed 20, that's what Stoops was saying. With the next 5, 2 of them will probably be guys that you would say, okay, you would take a reach on and say, okay, let's see what this guy, maybe he's a 200-pound linebacker, and we take him as an athlete. Maybe he grow into a 225-pound, 230-pound linebacker. So you're still going to look at guys. We still going to develop, and the main thing is about developing our players. So maybe you guys may put him a 4 or 5 star, but he may be a 2-star to you guys. But in our eyes, as projection, we see him as a 3 or 4 star down the road. So we still always going to recruit guys like that. Yes, sir.
Same question I asked Mark. How do you balance with your success? Maybe you're able to get into some homes that you weren't previously able to get into and have a chance to get those kids, but not forgetting about kids like a Josh Allen or a kid that you feel like that you can bring in and possibly develop.
That's a good question, but you think when we get to a certain point that where we want to take this football program, that we are like, you know, you want to be like Ohio State, you want to be like Bama, you want to be like Georgia, you want to be like Florida, that you're going in and getting the Jimmies and the Jimmies and the Joes. You know, when you get to that point where you can take a 235-pound linebacker coming out of high school, running 4.6, 4.5, it's easy to project what you're going to get out of that. But you still do not miss out on that you still can find a guy like Josh Allen. You know, you just don't. Or you can find a guy like Benny Snell, who, you know, when I recruited Benny, it was more Stoops going to find that we couldn't get a yard, an extra yard, or score a goal line 1-yard run. So he said, let's go get a back that's going to get us that yard. I got to be honest, I had no idea that this kid would turn into potentially the all-time leading rusher and break all these yards. So it is something about our development here, and we're going to keep on trying to find them type of players.
A local coach told me Tay could be the best out of all of the Louisville recruits. Is that crazy talk?
No, it's not crazy talk. Like, I think Tay is going to be like, he could be like Jeff Badette. You know, I think because he stayed committed, and a lot of these guys don't be drama kings, or, you know, drama queens and all that stuff, that he stayed committed. And sometimes you get lost in the shuffle, but this kid is fast. And Ohio State was recruiting him, Michigan State. He was, you know, committed to that school down the street, and, you know, we flipped him from them. But I think you're going to be very surprised with this kid and his speed, you know, when he comes in here. He's going to be a great addition to our receiving core.
One of the faster guys in the class, Tisdale from Georgia. Where did last year it was a big Florida kind of come up. This year there's a lot of guys from the state of Georgia. Where did that kind of come from?
Dude, from your boss, from our boss. You know, Georgia's the #1 state that really produce college, really college football players right now, and I think even pros. It's a state that we wanted to get into, but it goes back to the question you guys have been asking. When you have success, you're not looked at as a joke going in there. I mean, I was telling you, when I was recruiting a quarterback years ago, and I went in there and started, you know, taking over his recruitment, you know, Kentucky was looked at as why you want to go there? You know, if you're from the South, why you want to go there? You're going to skip over all these other schools to go to Kentucky. But when you start beating them schools, when you start beating South Carolina, Florida, Missouri, and all them schools, Mississippi State, oh, well, now this is a school I really want to go to. And that's what happened with us in Georgia now. This kid reminds me of Boone Williams so much. He got some traits like him. I really think this kid going to be a home run. I'm very excited to see him play.
On a personal level, like with the Butler kid, when you beat Ohio State or one of those programs for a kid, that's got to make you feel good, especially because you've watched that develop through that time.
Yeah, you know, we really played a poker face with, like, Kayvon took his visit this past weekend, and, you know, Coach Stoops gave him a good strategy. I'm not going to tell you what he told him, but he was just like, hey, I know these other schools are still pounding you. Let's let you guys think all these crystal balls that he going to Ohio State and he going to Michigan State. And I got to, even though I know we said it to him in there and he was good with it, I mean, in that state, there's pressure that you guys really don't understand, meaning you got teachers in that school, you got coaches, you got principals who are all Big Ten people, and they really pressuring this kid. And the kid, I think what the kid did, he never said that because he didn't want people, if he would have said, I'm going to Kentucky Sunday, he would have been hit real hard for the next 3 days. And so he really played a good poker face. But I got to say, that's why we were still texting until midnight. You get nervous because that school up there, it's, you know, they pretty good at getting guys. So it do. Personally, like when we got Chris Oakes, that was really a thing of saying, wow, we really battled these guys. We really battled these guys for Kayvon Butler. And I know Stoops was very excited about that.
You talk about Davis. Harris, rather. The box Harris.
Yeah.
What he brings to
He kind of remind me of kind of Gary Johnson, not as fast as him, but very productive, and like, he's the son of a coach. He really put up some numbers this year too. I mean, if you look at his stats, but what I love about this kid, he's a even keel, not flamboyant, not all on Twitter. He just go about his business. He's gonna come in here and he's gonna work, and I think you really gonna see that he can really, because I know you guys joke about it, but we need guys to catch the ball, and he can really catch the ball, and it's going to be, I think he's going to be a really great addition to that receiver room.
Yes, do you find that sons of coaches are generally ahead of the curve?
Yes, no doubt. I heard Mark, I think you asked about Moses. Here's what people understand about Moses. Moses had about 31 offers. He had everybody. I want to give parents credit right now. Parents like the Douglases, his mom and dad. You had everybody pulling at this kid. This kid never took another unofficial visit. He still had 5 visits where he could have took visits anywhere, and the kid was loyal to this university and loyal to us. Now, some may say because his dad played here, but his dad had an open mind with Moses, but what he did say, when you commit, is you shutting it down. And so I really want to take my hat off to his parents there. I mean, keeping a guy like that, and he's really been underrated because we've been talking about so many guys underrated with the media. But this kid is a good football player, and he will play as a freshman. He's a big physical kid, and I know y'all say, are we going to move him to linebacker? No, you want guys like that. You want to be intimidating. You see the big corners we had. People were very intimidated by our corners. So I really do think players who dads are coaches or even teachers, you see them kids are a little more, they're more polished. They're no nonsense, and they be ready to go, and they're just, I wish I could, and you can't, but you can recruit a lot of high school coaches' kids because they know the drill. They know what it means.
Every year I ask you for one kid that's maybe not one of the 4 stars. In 4 years I will look back and go, that was a find or that was a get. And you've been pretty good at projecting them. You told me Josh Allen 4 years ago.
Right.
Is there one in this group that makes that?
Yeah, I think it's, me personally, I think it's Shankell Knight, the kid out of Louisville. He is a very athletic kid. He can play safety, he can play linebacker, he can play receiver, he can play running back. He's so athletic, and I think this kid would have been a high 4-star, but his circumstances, he worked in the summer, never really did no camps, but he came to our camp and ran real well for a guy that big. I think he's going to be a guy that, surprise a lot of people. I really do.
I think you signed 6 straight tight ends from Ohio now. You got one from Florida. What's it going to be like having somebody in your room that's not one of your Ohio guys?
Well, that'll show you that I must really like this kid from Florida because this kid from Florida is really, you seen his dad? He got guns like it's no tomorrow, but I really like this kid. He's a very smart kid, very, just a respectful young man. He's big, come from a big traditional school, and I kind of wanted to go down to January. I got to go see him. I can go to Florida now instead of staying in Ohio. So no, I'm very excited about Nick. Big Nick, I like him a lot.
Moses said that it wasn't his dad that had to be convinced on Kentucky, it was his mom.
Oh yeah.
So how do you figure out who's the go-to person that you need to recruit in that family?
I always tell our guys, you better find out who the decision makers are quick. It can be the girlfriend, it can be, the pastor of the church, it can be a teacher. Like this year, it was a principal, assistant principal, who had a real strong pull on a certain kid. In Moses' case, I remember, I was like, man, you know, his dad come up here a lot, and he's like, Coach. I said, well, so when are you going to jump on board, Coach? You got to talk to my mom. He said, you got to talk to my mom before I do anything. And I think she was so, wanted him to have his own way because his dad played here. So she wanted him to have his own life. And I had to convince her. I said, just come up and visit. And here's the great thing about this city. I say the state, but this city. Since I've been here, we always told parents, you know, they come in and they stay where they stay, downtown or somewhere. Just go out, go in the community. Now, this could backfire against you if you really didn't really know this city. But they're really, for the most part, are nice people here. They're very respectful. And she said she didn't even tell us. She got a room, stayed downtown, went around, went to restaurants, and said the people were just so nice and people were so respectful. She came back and told us, she said, you know what? Because she's a professor herself. She teaches at a college. She said, I can see my son going here, and I can see why he wants to go here. But I think the people in Lexington has really played a big part, like, you know, some of a big part in their hospitality of just treating these parents, you know, respectfully, and because you want to know where your kid going to school. You want to know what people are going to be around. So I think that was a big part. I know she told me that, and if you interviewed her, she'll probably tell you that too. Yeah.
This group of seniors you have now, when you signed that class, do you remember having the thought this is a game changer to get into a market, anything like that?
Well, it was a combination of our 14 class, because some of the guys redshirted, and then the 15 class. But yes, I can honestly say, so you're talking about Mike Edwards, Darius West, even though, you know, he get criticized a little bit, but Dorian Baker has really won some real big games for us here. I can go down the line with Josh Allen, C.J. Conrad, George Soffel, Bungie Stallings, all five of the DBs. These were guys that we said we gonna win some games with, and you start seeing it immediately. I mean, the 15 class were their true freshman year, and here's the other thing: a lot of them guys didn't redshirt, so they were true 4-year seniors. I'm talking about the 15 class. So yeah, we did look at it and say, you know, we can really do some damage with these guys and win some games. Now, going down, I knew we were close to beating Florida. I thought we should have did it, you know, in 14 when we got robbed down there. And then I thought we should have did it the next year when they came here. But then we took it back. We went down there and got our teeth kicked in, and what was that, 17 or 16? Benny lets me know that because he didn't play. He was still mad about that. But yes, I think you guys will remember these guys, and they will go down as guys that really changed Mark Stoops' program and changed the culture. Because I'm going to tell you, when you go play in the SEC, you better have some dogs. We say dogs or goons. You better have some dudes because you're going to get ate up quick. And for the first time, I think Steve Spurrier said it in 14. Well, and it was kind of like he said a joke, but he really meant it was a compliment. So they look better in their uniforms. And what he was trying to say was, it ain't these pipsqueaks coming out there no more, guys that do not look like SEC players. So, yeah, we knew in 14 and 15 that would be the class that we said we should win the East.
That's when you could stop selling the vision and start selling success.
Yeah, because the vision was, that was hard. But we did it, you know, so.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, guys.